There is a prevailing theory in the community that Marika is a jar person, Jarika. At the very least, we know the fate of her people was a primary ingredient in these crucibles of horror. The fact we see jar people in Mesmer's castle in what appears to be a hospital wing, with chunks of them removed in what appears to be an attempt to save them, correlates to me with Marika divesting parts of herself through her children, in a similar attempt to shed the parts of herself that comprise her, that are not her, that were artificially introduced in the jarring process, a sort of unpickling, if you will. I low-key picture Marika as one of these jar people, ripping the faces off and making children from them. Regardless of if or not this is true, it is evident that Marika tried to save these shaman, unsuccessfully. But did she manage to save any of them? The shaman are tree people. I would hedge my bets on this being some form of ancient accord, as we see with the grandmothers, either embedded in or growing trees from themselves. I actually have a pretty comprehensive video planned for this, so I'll put a plug in it here regarding the mechanism behind this. Located in the Minor Erdtree church, we find a very, very interesting looking Minor Erdtree. This Minor Erdtree twists like the Scadutree, like a spiral akin to the Spira incantation, exactly alike to the Minor Erdtree we find in the Shadowlands. I have a strong suspicion this is what the Scadutree is meant to look like, and originally did, especially since I believe this is a depiction of the Scadutree found in Farum Azula before it was lovingly embraced by the other tree or shoot, and its bent, broken shape wounding it, causing its bounty to flow, was intentional. I'll be exploring who or what did this to the Scadutree and why in a later video, as it's critically important, but I digress. Also found in this super interesting church are pots, those very same ones containing the shaman, donning a different seal. This suggests one of two things for me. Either the denizens of the Erdtree also practiced this pickling process, which I truly doubt, considering Marika likely abhorred the practice, or I would wager that these are the shaman from the jars who were transported to this new jar for a new purpose, as a part of a ritual to save them. However, it would seem these pots are empty, the contents long since gone. My government-funded law therapist, Kick 6, suggested perhaps the contents were used as a fertilizer for the Minor Erdtree, which I thought was brilliant and explained the presence of them around the other trees, a fitting burial for the tree people. However, I noticed another very peculiar thing around this church, which also shows up around the other Minor Erdtrees with pots. As I had a look around to sniff for clues, an epiphany literally rose from the ground right under my nose. These tree people, tree guardians, are tremendously interesting. Ew. The description between their clothes reads differently between the ordinary and full-bloom version of their garbs. Ordinary guardian garbs, worn by the guardians of the Minor Erdtree, in accordance with an ancient pact with the Erdtree. It is said that their deaths led not to destruction, but instead to renewed, eternal life as guardians. Full-bloom guardian garb. It is said the blood-red flowers blooming on their backs marks the senescence of their ancient pact. Perhaps the guardians, a part tree already. If we look closely at the figure, a gold mask adorns their face, as if to hide the corroded, mutilated form beneath it. We also see arm braces akin to the ones Marika wears, a crown very reminiscent of her own. Lastly, their long grey hair is very reminiscent of the grandmother that we find infused in the tree in the shaman village. To invoke such striking similarities to Marika's attire, crown and all, suggests to me that these people are very important to her. That, in addition to the accord they exist by, struck long ago, and the fact it is degenerating like the Erdtree, is further evidence of their origin. I believe that these are the lucky ones, the ones that Marika was able to save from their tormented fate, in the best case scenario available, the only survivors of the jars. They even share a similar posture, as if they were stuffed into a jar. They are literally pot plant people. Perhaps as a condition of their new eternal life, they first had to die and be buried by a minor Erdtree. Then, the beings already part tree rose anew as guardians of the Erdtree. Just as a tag on to this, as an extension, the Erdtree avatars could very well also be tutelary deity equivalents in these tree guardians, or shaman, given they are the ultimate protectors of the minor Erdtrees, as well as other beings that swear servitude and loyalty to another. They are headless, akin to the headless knights around the mausoleums. Lastly, just as another note from the main point of the video, the tree spirits also seem to don these Minor Scadutree on its back, twisting in the same manner. In fact, this creature itself bends in the same way when preparing certain attacks. I could be completely wrong on this, but I just had to comment on it because there was just so much demanding my attention. Thank you for watching. My next video will tie in with this one, as I will be exploring the lore of the Grandmother. And boy, oh boy, do I have something juicy for you. I literally can't wait to share it with you, but in fear of the algorithm being enraged by my spam, I'll have to wait. Until then, if you like the video, subscribe for more, because trust me, there is plenty more coming.